So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples having an natter in chat while I'm playing on my daughter's EX07 ugee drawing tablet. So this is a drawing tablet, and it's quite thin, and it has a few buttons on the side here, and then it has a white corner square, and that corner represents the screen. So if I'm going to touch the top right, you'll see the mouse up here. If I want to touch the top left, the mouse is there. So everywhere on this screen is the same as this screen. So I like playing in artrage when I'm colouring in. So this is totally different to the ugee HK1560, which is actually just behind it. It's here, because you actually draw on that screen. This one you're drawing on a tablet. So I've got the tablet here in front of the laptop. Now if you're using different software such as Photoshop, you want to be drawing on here, and then you're doing keyboard things here, so Control X and Control Z, and you'll do all sorts of things. So it would be a good idea to have this in front and then just do your Control Z's with your keyboard. But I'm working in artrage, and I really like artrage. It's very simple. It does quite a lot of things, but it does them in a very easy way. And it's fantastic for colouring, and again all you've got to do is this really soft light pen that has a rubber coating, so it doesn't slip out of your hands very easily. So I keep wanting to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the file up. So I go up here and open the file, and I want to be opening, if I go to recent files, it's going to tell me I've had the fox, the mouse, the fox, the Bennett Klein page, the badger girl. Oh, it might not find these. Wait a second. Let me just have a look. See if it what it's going to find. Oh, I need to finish this one off. So this, I really like this. So this is the Bennett Klein, and it's the fox. So if I put my little wheel out, I like my little wheel because by stroking this I can change direction, so it's always easy for your wrist, and you always get better curves and staying within the line if you have a nice curve of your wrist. If you're twisting backwards, you're going to make mistakes. So I do like this colour wheel, and then you can tap the plus to make it bigger, so when you get these lovely long strokes here, and down for smaller. So I've been working on the flowers, and in artrage I normally always work 1%, and I work in marker, and the markers are normally blending markers, because that's something I can't do in reality. One is I don't have the markers. I do actually, tell the fib, I do have some, but the other one is I cannot take them. Oops, and I want blending markers. Now that takes it to 29, but I work in 0%. So I'm going to stroke that back down to 0, and that's going to give me a very fine line. So if I tap blue, so I hope you can see where the arrow's going. So if I wanted to do some blue lines, this is how fine it is. So when we put it down to its original size, it's quite fine. It's not a cheat's way at all. And then if I don't like what I've done, the one thing I love about artrage is it doesn't matter how many things you do, you can undo everything. So if you do 1,000 strokes, you can, 100, you can undo 100. There's no limit. Some of the other ones, there is a bit of a limit of how you can do that. I then have to, we've got two little buttons on here, and it's similar to a right click and a left click. So I use my finger because my thumb doesn't work, so I use my finger, and you push down. Oops, let me just get rid of those. And you can move it about. So if you want to work on a flower, you can work on this flower, and I normally work at 300. So I've been working on this colour here. Oops, I've put a dot there. So the other thing I like to have out is my sampler, because that's giving me all my colours. So you tap a colour and it shows you the colour and the tone. So the colours are here on this outer ring, and then the inner one is the inner colours. And then I just start to colour in, and it doesn't take long. Now it does make a bit of a scratchy noise, but what it sounds like is a pen. It feels like a pencil, and you just very, very, very carefully, because I've got my pressure set, because I can just stroke that across, so there's no pressure on my hands. Now this is a bit smaller screen than I'm used to, but you can get the idea of filling this in. And then kind of going a shade darker. Now it feels and sounds like a pencil on a hard surface. So if you had a single sheet of paper on a hard surface, that's what it feels like. So that's quite nice because it's not glass. So again, if you want to highlight, we can go back up here and put a highlight on, and we can blend that back down. So I really like this idea, and it takes quite a while. In fact, it takes longer to do this, but it's such a nice way to work. And I'm actually using my pen, not hers. So it stopped flashing now, so let me see if I can play with hers. Yep. So this is her pen. But because I'd bought another ugee, I got two pens in my ugee drawing tablet. Now I love my drawing tablet because I'm actually drawing on the screen, and there's something quite nice like that. The Wacom or Wacom Cintiqs are a few £1,000s, so they're a little bit out of my price range. So quite like that, and I just carry on like that. So I can work on this one here. And I can turn it round so it's at a better angle for me. So that's a really nice angle, and then I can move it up so that my hand is resting actually on the board there. I can just move that over there if I wanted, or just out of the way a bit. Now you can clear the screen so you don't have any colours. And you can get rid of this little thing here. If you were drawing something from a reference, you'd put your reference painting there, colouring there, and you can make it as big as small as you want. So there's lots of ways to work. So if you were drawing something, you could use your photograph if you were copying, if you were using it as a reference. I tend to just use that so I can see the colours. And this square down here tells me what colour I'm on, so again, it's just quite an easy way to work. and then you can make a lighter lemon. For a highlight. And you can blend them, and I love the fact I can blend pens, blendable marker pens, because I can't do that in reality. And there's no taking pen tops off, you're just tapping. You're just tapping. And I haven't used this for a good month or so since I bought her it, so it takes literally no time at all to pick it up. I was very impressed with how easy it was, because at first I thought, won't be able to do this. So again, tap the colour and very carefully bring that colour in. And you can get a screen protector for this. You can get a screen protector for them all if you want. So I thought I might do that for my daughter, and then you won't hear too much scratching. Then it would sound slightly better. In fact, I just wondered what it sounds like if I put this over the top. This is just a piece of that plastic packaging. Can we see the same thing? Now that's silent. But it's doing exactly the same thing, so you can't hear it now at all. And then we want kind of a pale. So I could actually put this on my daughter. I might make one. I could make one. So I want some white on there. So the more I tap, you can see that highlight coming through. And that's because it's a blender pen. So it's not going to be, if I'd had a marker on there, I'd get white. But because I'm using a blender pen, it's blending with what's underneath it. So that gives you a wonderful blend. So it's so easy to use. I love this. So all I've put is this piece of plastic on top of the keyboard. So I'm drawing on this. And it's worked quite well. Oh, hi Kenny, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's just murder. Now somewhere I have a bit bigger piece of plastic that I've just brought home. Some packaging. It was a box. So I have two of these. So if I put them, oh, this is a bit bigger actually. So I'm going to cut a piece of plastic, and I'll probably stick it with sticky tape on the edge here where it's shiny. And then it can just sit. I'll show you when I have the daylight. So I've got the plastic here, and it's just a piece of plastic packaging, but instead of it sounding, I don't know if you can hear like this, you can't hear it. And again, I quite like that effect. So and again, I haven't played with this for a long time. I want to go to, but I have the camera in the way actually. The camera's in the way, so I think I'm doing quite well. And you're just blending in colours. And then then I tend to go up here for a highlight. So you can get some really nice effects. And again, a bit of a highlight on this one. So it really looks like it's being hit by light. But it's just like having a pen in your hand. It's just like having a marker pen. Now you can work in oils, you can work in acrylics, airbrush, you can work in whatever you want. And again, I really like that idea. You're not restricted to just biros. So £50. The artrage was actually 70, but it gives you so much more. And if you do like it, then you can save up for a more expensive tablet. But this is just to get you going, especially if you can't use your hands. You know, if you can't use your hands, sometimes you think, oh well, that's it then. And it's not always true. So again, that's quite dark in there, but I don't like the black, so I can get rid of that. And I am quite a long way away from here, so I would work a little bit nearer normally. So you can get rid of all this dark if you want here. And remember, I'm working in a very fine, like a fine liner. So if you wanted to work bigger, you can make your pens huge if you want. And if you go over and make a mistake, you just tap back and it's gone. And again, that's wonderful if you're not very well. So what we can do is you tap the top 90 degree, instantly turns it the right way, and then we take that to 100. So you can see here the bit I was doing. So I've got that pale flower there and I've gone under here. So it doesn't take long, but it's not a cheat, you know, you're not tapping a button and filling it in, you're actually drawing every single thing. And you don't have to actually touch, because the pen is sensitive, you can be about 10 millimeters away and it will give you, instead of pushing it down with the arrow, you can do this. Right click and move. I'm not actually touching anything. I'm about 10-20 millimeters away. So again, it's very, very sensitive and very clever and very quick. Everything I love about colouring. So I normally work at 300, and there's a lovely rose down there. So you can see what I've been working in. So there's all sorts of things to do under here. As you can see, all these colours that I've been putting in, lights and darks. I normally do a medium colour, then I do a light colour and a dark colour. So I might put some green under here. So I'm going to tap that dark green. And I'm just going to put some green under here. But I love the fact you can work in pens, in oils, and I don't have any pens kicking about. You can work in pastels. I'm going to go for a lighter green over here. So I'm not doing so bad considering I haven't touched this for a good few weeks. She's had this at uni. But it's really nice for colouring, because if you're in bed or you're poorly, you might want to do something, but you might actually not want a big pot of pens kicking about. Whereas this way, you don't have to have that. And then if you tap to the green here, and then tap at the bottom. It tells you where the colour is and where the tone is. So if I want to highlight, I'm going to tap that and then go over here to play, and that's going to give me that highlight. Because probably just about there would be a bit of a highlight. So you can do all sorts of things with this, and it's a touch of a button. So if we just come back out of that, you can see what that looks like. Has anybody got any questions? Can everybody see that okay? Does it come across okay? I wonder if I'm... Never checked to see if I was actually in focus. Which does help. Oh, welcome back, Suzanne. So again, now it's gone silent because I've obviously not done that. So then you can come out to the normal size, and if you tap these buttons, everything can disappear, so you can see what everything looks like. And that's our little fox. I wonder if it'll be slightly better. Oh, thank you, that's good. So what we'll do is have a quick look up here and see what else we've got. I'm not sure what I've got here. These are all photographs, so maybe they won't. But you can use it as an ordinary kind of thing. You don't have to use it for drawing. You can use it instead of for moving about your laptop, which is always easy. Artrage. Yeah, I think it's because I had them on my little yeah, I don't think I've got any on here. If you do it on an SD card, you've got to go back to the same SD card, and I don't think I've got that with me. So we can get rid of that. Just see what other ones we've been working on. And it will keep those. No, that's the wrong one. So you can play about all day with this. It's just to make things easier. So we had the fox and the flowers, we had the mouse. Yeah, these are on the other disc. I should have put the little disc in, but I forgot to bring it with. The mouse is on there as well. Oh, I know what I was working with. I was working in the yeah, I've only got this one. But if you didn't want to do that, what you could do, because this is Artrage, you could start a new one. And what you have to do is you sort out the size for printing out, the canvas, and whether you want to trace or what you want to do, the grain, whether it's a rough canvas, whether it's a watercolour canvas, all sorts of things. And then you just press. So I actually leave it. I'm not going to print any of these out. I'm just practicing. So it's going to give me just a very blank. Unless I pressed the wrong button. So that's giving me just a blank space. So then I can open up this. So I've got oil paints, watercolors, palette knife, airbrush, ink pen, custom brushes, because I've actually bought this and the glue pen, which I haven't played with yet, felt pens, paint roller, pencils, pastels, sticker sprays, eraser, paint tubes and glitter tubes. So there's lots and lots to play with. And then we've kind of got, this is for selection, this is a cloner, this is a colour sampler. So that's the colour sampler then. Ooh, that's the fill, and that's text. So you can do lots and lots of things within this. So the ink, the oil brush, when you press presets, we then have brushes, we have brushes, dry clumps, dry varnished, to give you kind of grainy effect. We've got everlasting oils, which is quite soft, thick gloss, square, normal, round. So there's lots of brushes to play with. An unclean brush, and tiny daubs, thin and dry, thick and glossy. Everlasting oil I always quite like. And then we want to go into settings. So you want pressure. Well, I always put high pressure because that means I can just very carefully stroke it, really carefully. Thinners. Do you want it to be very weak, like a wet? This is oil, but do you want it very thin? So it's got a lot of thinner to it. So if you would have more thinner than you would oil paint. Loading the brush, is the brush completely loaded, or is it kind of let me change colour. So again, you've got a green there. So at the moment it's not blending because down here you can have the rotation as well as your brush. Is it head square, automatically clean? So if I take that off, insta dry means once you've done it you can't blend because it's dried. So take insta dry off, and it's wet again. So it's all wet. All that colour's all wet. So it's all going to run. If you put insta dry, you can be over the top. So it's like you do the oil painting, the next day you've come back and you're working over the top of it. But if you want to blend, you keep it wet so you can blend those colours together. Oh, hi Miss Q. Oh, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else is popping in? Are you looking at the artrage design? It's amazing. So this is your oil, and I mean this is just touching the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg really. You can go into here and you've got lots of things to reset the brushes. So you've got clumps, dry ice, you've got everlasting oil, the same as before, but you can play with that. You can get 100 brushes out of one specific brush, so you can have less pressure. You can have less thinner. So this is kind of really thick oil paint now. Then there's all sorts of, just let me move that up a bit. There's the stiffness of the brush, there's the rotation, the aspect. Now I would watch lots and lots of artrage people, artists. I don't know anything about this. I'm playing. I'm playing. But this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to show, just as a novice, what you can do. So we've got this blue here now. So we've got a blue. There's also a palette up here. You can trace. Oh, somebody asked me about tracing, but what you can do is you can clone. Now, I don't really like this, but if you really can't draw anything, let's pick a... Oops, I'm going to pick that one. You can trace it. Oops, no, and you want a layer. Don't know where it is now. Using tracing colour, flick for normal colour. Right. I don't know where it is, but you can build layers up. So that's a tracing, and then you can see it or you can not see it. But the best thing to do is to watch the artists on the actual. That's the opacity looks. If I take this up here, you will see my painting behind. You'll see the photograph. So what you can then do is, if we get rid of this, you can clone. Now again, if you watch the videos, because I haven't done this because it's not really what I want to do. So if I want to clone on a layer, I can bring as much of that photograph as I want into reality. Personally, I don't like doing that. So if I press undo, it should get rid of it in a minute. Okay, let's get rid of the tracing. If I turn it off, you can't see the tracing. But you can do all sorts of things with this. So we've got this green. So if we get this blue, come on. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. We've got to go back to brush. Got to remember to go back to brush. So now I've got blue, but when I mix it with this green, it's going to give me lots of different colours, and it's going to make this blue into some gorgeous greens. And this is like colour mixing, so it's good to play, so you know that a bright blue like that is going to give you a deep green. But if you use a pale blue, what happens to your greens? They stay fairly purple. I want a blue. Blue. That'll do. So this is a pale blue, like a cerulean blue, but look at your greens now. So every time you tap, you get new, fresh blue. So you can really have a good play. I've actually probably got it on dirty. If you've got it on dirty, then it won't clean your brush. So but you can do all sorts of things with this. Now, somewhere there's all sorts of things. The best thing to do is to watch a professional artist that uses artrage. That's how I learnt. Or art demos, that's another one. So if you're going to put pink in your green, you know, you're going to get some really nice dull greens. And this, you can play with colour on here if you want. And then you can just kind of go back and you tap, and this is what I love about artrage. It doesn't matter how many times you tap back, you can always take everything off. So the other thing I was going to do on here, which I'll probably do next week maybe, is collage and mixed media. So the one thing you can do is you do the tubes of paint. So and that's quite big. So let's have a pale blue. So this is like big squeezing big tubes of paint. If you make that bigger, this is like a big fat tube of paint. You go into, and you can have hard square. So that's kind of like, look at this. I mean, this is like absolutely hundreds of pounds worth of art paint squished out. You can put some pale in there. You can put some deep. And then when you put your roller on, Oh, let me just make my roller bigger because I normally make a small roller. So tap now, you should have a really big roller. You can make some really nice effects. The palette knife, again, palette knife, how many palette knives would you like? You've got so many. This one makes kind of like it's miraged, really unusual. We've got hard out smudge. You see, I like this one. So you make this really big. Oops, really big. I'm trying to keep on my little piece of plastic, and then you can squish all this colour about. And the harder you press and the gentler you press is all determines. So if you're doing a landscape, you can get some wonderful things. This is oil paint. No mess. Oil paint. Absolutely gorgeous. And then if you wanted a bit of sea colour, we go back to our tube. I'm actually squinting under the camera, so that's why I'm having. So you just put your colours here. And we could have some deep colours. I mean, there's thousands of colours here. This is your colour wheel, and then here is all the shades. So you must have 1,000,000 colours here. For each colour you have 1,000,000 shades. You have to have. But every dot is a different shade, a different tone, and then you've got all these colours. So you will never run out of colours. And we could just maybe put a little bit of light on there, and then we go back to our palette knife and squish this in, and whoops, but then the beautiful thing is now it's a little, if you notice that it's a little bit slow from where my hand is, that doesn't bother me. People say, oh, it's not responsive, which means that when I'm moving that way, my cursor's here and it's slow. That doesn't bother me. The fact that it actually does this is amazing. So if you're a perfectionist, you might think it's a bit slow, but mine's working on a very old laptop, remember. If you have and it's a very tiny laptop, you know, it's an Atom little tiny thing with Windows Starter on it. If you have an ordinary computer, then your screen will be huge and it will be fantastic. But the best thing is you can then tap a pencil and you can draw with a pencil on top of your oils. Which I think is totally amazing. You can then tap your watercolors, and you can go on your watercolors down here. You've got lots of settings. You've got delicate on dry, dry strokes, dry on wet, harsh lines, heavy bleeds, soft spot, just water, low blending, small wet strokes, thin strokes on wet, unclean brush, wet on wet. So if we have wet on wet, we then go over here to settings, and then we have pressure, we have thinners, so that would be water in this case, loading the brush, the colour blending, colour bleed, so will it kind of mix together, or will it be kind of no colour bleed at all, so it's all solid colour. If there's no thinners, you should get the colour. There's all sorts of things you can do, and by messing about with these pressures on here determines what happens. But that's watercolour on oil, so you've got paper wet. So if you dry that and put Insta Dry, and you've got watercolour, you can actually watercolour on an oil background. Now I've got this thinner quite high up that, so again you can go down to there. So you can watercolour on an oil background. And again, if you don't want that, you think I don't like that, just take it all off. A big tap normally does big things. A little tap does little tiny movements. So you can go back to your oils, and you can go back to your tubes of paint, and we can put some colours in there. Go back with our palette knife and blend them across. And it's still quite fat paint, this. It's still quite chunky paint. For mixed media, it's wonderful. It's fab. So if you wanted some kind of really dark clouds, mystic skies, you can get some kind of really moody skies, or you can blend up and down. You don't have to blend. You can blend in any direction you want. You do not have to do it across. You can blend that up and down, and you can blend in, and then you can blend across if you want a very smooth blend. And when you're working, everything disappears, so you're not in your way with all these things. You can take them off if you want. You can leave them on. We could put some more dark here. Make a really dark sky. So you can get some really cool effects. And again, you can, it's all in there, it's all on top of each other. You can just blend it as you want. So if you notice my cursor is not exactly perfect. You can get some gorgeous deep skies. It is, isn't it? It's wonderful. Oh, that's good, but they're very expensive, aren't they, Miss Q? They're about 800 to 900 for the smallest one, up to about 3,000 are the Cintiqs. And of course they're top of the range. Wacom make top of the range ones. This is a little £50 one. But the beauty of it is that my one behind that I draw on has 2 pens, and it doesn't have any batteries in the pens, but the pen actually fits, works on this little ugee as well. So I thought my daughter, if she lost it at uni, it would be fine, and came, oh Mum, I've lost the pen. I wouldn't carry on because I've got a spare. And my pens work on this ugee as well, so again, I like that. So what I've done is just put a little piece of plastic over this little here. So it sounds, if you can hear that, but when I'm holding the plastic over it, there's nothing. But then of course we can play with the real big things, which are fun. These are footprints, and we can have a look in here. So we've got such good fun. I did a play before with this, absolutely amazing. So we've got black pearl. Now black pearl might not show up on this. I'm just going to move this here so I can keep an eye on it. I'm going to put it there. Actually, I'm going to put it on that side, and then I'm going to move this there, and I'll put that down there for a moment. So what we can do is, this is black pearl. It's like dots, and the next one is dice. So the more you press on, the bigger they are, but you make them bigger here. Look, you can go down here and make them so much bigger, so we can make them 200, I think. Oh, wrong computer. Wrong computer. And then these dice become huge. Absolutely huge. Now, I think I'm on black. Whatever colour you press, that's what colour you get. So, I mean, there is just no bounds at all of what wonderful colours you can possibly want. And then we've got dominoes. Push down, you get huge dominoes, little strokes, and you get faster ones. Fire in different colours. I think fire's only in oranges. Fireballs. Haven't even started yet. Let's go down here. So we've got flower chains. I'm just going to get rid of those because there's just too much on there. So we press back. And the beauty of it is, if you think, oh, I really like that, you can just press, oopsie. I must have done something. You can press it back. So we've got flower chains. So again, push down, light. Whatever colour you've got on here is what colour you want. If you want some blue flowers, pale flowers, pink flowers, and you can make them, again, if you go down to this corner here, you can make them big or small. So you can make huge flowers. There's just no end of what you can actually play with. So this is another one. I think all those are white. And then we've got gift boxes. So we go back to here and we press all that from there. You can bring them back, or you can get rid of them. And unless you press save, oops, let me see if I can get rid of that. I quite like that one. So this is gift boxes. So much fun. Again, go here, make them bigger. Huge presents. Gift boxes. And we've got coins. They're green. We can have blues. Gold coins are quite good. If we put that's there, so we have gold coins. We can have huge coins. And houses, if you want to put houses in things for 3D, I think this is wonderful for I think this is so good. Oh, how wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Kit. Oh, that's good. Yes, I was showing my daughter did this morning, yesterday. Oh, she's done that as well with that just with a piece of paint. With the these are quite old. These are, sorry, there's a bunny trail coming along. These are neo art, and you can't get them anymore. But it's basically Neocolor 2s. But there's a set of 15. But I mean, they're as thick as my finger. They're really chunky. And she just sat and dipped in with a paintbrush with her black and white. That was her white. But she painted this while watching TV. And there's no drawing. She doesn't draw. She just paints directly onto the paper. But look at the eyes. So she's a very clever girl, but she's not actually doing art. She's not doing art, but I did teach them both from an early age that any kind of artwork is 90 to 95% looking and 5% drawing. So you watch something for a long time before you decide what you want to do. But this is more for fun. This is just more for fun. I just think it's just great fun. Now you can print these off. People have their artwork printed off. This is that POW, and it's all going to be the colours that you choose. Christmas gifts. Again, you can have them big or small. Oops. Let me have a look, see if we can get some yellow ones. So this is quite good fun. I like this one. This is baubles, the old-fashioned light bulbs we used to have as children for Christmas. And they're shaped like little pearls, but they're actually light bulbs. I just think this is so magical. You could just play forever with these. And always remember, if you go back too far, you can do other things. Wrapped candies, these are fun. Oops. Wrapped candies, and again, these are sweets. So whatever colour you touch, that's the colour you get. Little wrapped sweets. Typography, so you've got hi there, welcome, all sorts of things written. So again, you can do loads of things with this. Typewriter letters, typography, great fun. Oops, great fun. The next one up is glitter stars. So these are glitter. They are all little glitter stars. And I don't know if these go bigger. So they're all glitter. So I really think that's fun. And then we've got my favourite one here. Very quickly I'll go through this. This is my favourite one. It's like little chocolate buttons. Just such fun, and the more you press down, the lighter, the more you press down, the deeper and shallower they get. But absolutely love this button one. And then there's rainbow spheres as well. So you get, if you with darker colours, again these go bigger. The images you can create is just just fantastic. Oh, I remember the old little candle ones, but I mean that's from the 60s. Just remember those. Then we've got push pins, but you could play for hours in here. Again, if you forget. So push pins are good. Push pins are great fun. Another my favourite, popcorn. Absolutely love this one. Just love these popcorns. It is a bit slow, is my laptop, but you know, absolutely love that. It's one of my favourite. So you can do collages, you can do mixed media, you can play with all sorts. Paw prints. Now I haven't mentioned either that here we have a metallic wheel, so you can make everything goldy and shiny if you want to. But the best thing to do is to go watch a professional play with this, but I'm just playing. We have the ladybugs, little tiny ladybugs, and then you can have huge ladybugs. You can't change the colour, but you've got the ladybugs. They actually have feet. They have little feet and little noses. They're all following each other. And then you get to, and that's just sticker sprays. Okay, so we're on sticker sprays. So let's get off this. And then we've got art brushes. So we've got airbrush splats, airbrush, bristles. So you've got a bristle. This is quite fun. If I did it in a different colour, you'd see it. My computer is very slow at the moment, but so much fun. There's lots of bristles and brushes on here, art brushes, calligraphy brushes. Lots and lots of really, it turns as you turn, there's no messing. You know, if you want to do your calligraphy, it just does it instantly for you. Fabulous, love that. There's cross hatching and hatching. So there's so many brushes. There's dry splats, there's impressionist artists. So it's a bit like, you know, you want to do impressionism. And there's Japanese ink. That's a beautiful one for drawing, is Japanese ink. There's so much on this, and it's very easy to find. Some of them are gorgeous, but they're very difficult, some others. So here we have art clippings. So we've got art triangles, and again you can have big and small. Kaleidoscope. Again, hundreds of different colours, kaleidoscopes. Manga and sage. I think this is like pieces of material. Really pretty, this one. They're like pieces of material cut out in squares. Absolutely love this one. Look at that. Very pretty. And olive decoration. So this is like an olive. So take that metallic off. For a border. It's quite fun. Paint splats. That's quite good. This is a bit like ink splatting. It's quite good. I just go through this very quickly. So this is ink splats, paint splats, sorry, beg your pardon, and you can change the colour. Much fun. And then we've just got splats, and again you can have those whatever size you want. And then we've got patterns, whatever colour that you choose. Trim, it's a bit like a snowflake, it's quite colourful. So we have that, we've got three more to go through, and then you really need to watch a lot of the art guys that do all this. So this is a fun brush next. So we've got barbed wire. Oops, my computer is a bit slow. And we make that a bit bigger. So we've got barbed wire. How cool is that? That's barbed wire. I think so. I think you could do lots of things. A blue stroke, bubble stroke. This is quite interesting, this one. Really, really unusual. If you do it slowly or do it fast, you could have like beads. Broad flutter. These are brushes, so they're kind of fun brushes. Bubbles. And cables is gorgeous. Don't want to. These are like plastic cables that are covering your wires. They're just like cables. Oh, unbelievably fun. And then this one's got kind of 3 with it. So it had some. They're like 3 cables. So much fun. There's a chain, and again you can make that bigger. You've got a chain, candy cotton, dotsy. You just touch down, you get dots. Flower brush. So if you do a flower that way, you get the petals. If you do it that way, you get the hint of the middle. Haven't quite mastered this one yet. You go round in a circle to get a flower. A fluff explosion is quite good. Really unusual. Glow in the dark. Chain. Holiday lights. Marching ants. Little marching ants everywhere. You can have huge marching ants, blue ants, big black ants. Not too many more to go through. Modern jazz, it's quite funny. A neon snake. And then there's particles. Particles 2, particles 3. Rainbow brush. Don't think I've seen the rainbow brush. There's the rainbow brush. Rainbow springs. And ribbons. 3D ribbons. Spring dots again, sprinkles. And then tight rainbow rings. And then there's fun fur and natural stamps, which again you could go on forever and ever. Furs, curly hair, straight hair, and then we've got leaves, clouds, straw grasses, lots of grasses, birds flying, larvae, leaves, can have some green leaves kicking about, moss. But the best thing all is if you get your palette knife, everything's actually paint, so you can blend it. There's lots of lovely blends as well, so there's lots of things you can do, and if you forget and you think, oh, I don't really want to do that, I meant to keep it, you just go back to where you liked it and think, I quite like that, I might save it. So you can save it, save as, and I'll put background. Background 6. Now if you save it as Artrage, that's fine. If you save other things, save them as a riff. If you save them as a riff, it means you can always go back in them and replay with them. If you save it as anything else, you can only work on top. So that's good to know. So there's lots of things here, but I like the simple layout. We haven't even touched layers and drawing properly and creating what I call proper art, but just for colouring in and having fun, this is very, very simple and very easy. And as I say, you can actually, you can actually get rid of all this, so you've got nothing on your screen at all if you don't want. And you can of course blow this up and move it around a bit and see what's what. So you can have a lot of fun with this. It's a very, very simple, easy thing to do, but you've still got some really nice brushes. You've got some nice watercolour brushes. You've got lots of nice watercolour brushes. You can do wet on wet, wet on dry. There's oil brushes. There's some really unusual things. So I'm going to have to go through it bit by bit because there is quite a lot on here. But I love it because it's really, really easy to use. Has anybody got any questions? Yeah, the undo function is actually the best because I was playing in Coral Painter that I bought and I wanted to go back because I didn't like what I was doing, but I was practicing and it wouldn't let me go back, so I had to work over the top. This one always lets you take it back, so again I really like that. It worked out about £77 I think, but I really like this little, and it's all been done with this little tablet here, drawing on this tablet, so this is what I'm working on. I'm just moving about on this little pad here, but I think it's great fun and it works on this tiny little laptop, or it can work on a big screen, so you can sit with this on your knee. You do have a cable though, it's not wireless this. But you can sit with it and your laptop can be near you and you can be drawing or you can play. So I hope you found this interesting, and if you, I thought I saved it, saving, but my laptop is quite slow and I do have a lot of things on here. Oh, and of course I've got the one I was working on before. We'll save that one. And you can use it to browse the web, to look all around the laptop. You can use it for a lot of things. It's so much easier to use it than the keyboard or even the mouse. So it's really good to have. Yes, we're going to colour. So how long have I been on that one? So let me just have a look. So I hope you found that interesting, and this is the little ugee. Oopsie. I'll just pan out a bit and you can see. Oopsie doopsie doo. Stay on there. Bear with me 2 seconds. So I've been working next to my laptop here, and these 4 corners represent but what I've been doing, because it's a bit noisy, I've been putting a piece of plastic on top, and it's completely silent, but it's so easy to do. So that's how I was working, and the 4 corners here represent the 4 corners. So that's how I was using my little ugee, and she hasn't pulled the plastic off yet, so I've left it. The ugee EX07. Thank you for watching.